These are the sounds of the Winter Garden Theater on the night of May 24th, 1966. These are the sounds of a glittering first-night audience of New York's theater-going elite. And they're here tonight to welcome Auntie Mame back to Broadway. Yes, Mame is back with music, as presented by Fryer, Carr, and Harris. It's starring Angela Lansbury as Mame, with Beatrice Arthur, Jane Cannell, Willard Waterman, and Frankie Michaels. The book is by Jerome Lawrence and Robert E. Lee, based on the novel by Patrick Dennis and the play Auntie Mame by Lawrence and Lee. Words and music are by Jerry Herman. Dances and musical numbers by Anna White, and the direction by Gene Sachs. Oh, it's an excited and anxious audience here at the Winter Garden tonight. Auntie Mame, as you know, was a great hit on both stage and screen, and transforming it into a musical is an enormous undertaking. They're here to sit in judgment on it, and the moment of truth in the theater is at hand. The first night curtain is about to go up on Mame, starring Angela Lansbury. And that's the answer. You get it right away in the theater, and you can tell how this opening night audience feels. They're on their feet. It's a standing ovation for Angela Lansbury, and Broadway has another smash hit. Now she's being presented with an enormous bouquet of roses. And still they applaud for Beatrice Arthur, Jane Cannell, Willard Waterman, Frankie Michaels, and the colorful cast of Mame. The beautiful mobile settings of Bill and Jean Eckhart. The gorgeous costumes of Robert McIntosh. And from here we move to the famous Rainbow Room at the top of the RCA building. Truly a magnificent setting for the opening night party of Broadway's newest smash, Mame. Well, you triumphant creature, you, Angela Lansbury. What do you think? How do you feel?
What do I think? How do I feel? It's impossible to sum up in a couple of seconds the work of many years. And by that I don't mean to say that I haven't had a marvelous career, because I have. But somewhere in the back of my mind I have had the thought that something like this might happen to me, and now it has. Can you imagine how I feel?
How many years have you worked for this, Angela?
Well, it's been 20 years and some since I started. And I started, as you know, as a movie actress solely. However, I came to the stage a couple of times in the past 10 years. And the last time I left Broadway was with a musical that did not succeed.
Anyone can whistle.
Yes, it was a very distinguished piece of work on the part of the composer.
You were distinguished too.
Well,
you hear that sound?
Oh, there it is.
That's you, Mame.
Wow. I could cry when I hear that, I'll tell you.
Well, a lot of people are going to be thrilling to that for a long time, Angela.
Oh, well, Jerry Herman can write him, and by golly, nobody can touch him when it comes to writing a song like Mame. And all the other songs in the show, let's face it, he's an extraordinary guy.
What a brilliant young man, you know, to write lyrics and music.
I know.
Extraordinary.
You know, you've seen him, what a young... it looks impossible that this young man could produce this kind of work at his age.
And to have a Frankenstein like Hello, Dolly.
Yes.
And to have to
beat it.
Come up with an encore.
I know. You could almost say that this was, in a sense, would be a deterrent to people believing he could double it, you know. But he has. I mean, it's like throwing double sixes twice.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary. And to be part of it with him is such a thrill. You have no idea.
So now you're the toast of Broadway, the new toast?
Am I?
Yes, dear.
You realize I don't know this yet, because I was just beginning to hear the reviews, and they are marvelous. But I just want to know Broadway audiences, and I just want them to share with me what I feel on stage. It's so wonderful.
How much time have you spent now putting Mame into shape on the road?
We were out of town for 8 weeks. We were in Philadelphia, we were in Boston, we put in a whole new number in Boston, which is now in the show, and we froze the show a week ago when we came into New York with the previews. And now tonight, this is it.
Is there anything like this thrill, Angela? Opening in a Broadway show, having it
I don't think you can touch it. I don't think you can touch it. Listen, when you take your curtain call and that audience gives what it gave tonight, there's no mistake that they approve.
You work so hard.
Oh, it's a pleasure, believe me.
How did you become so versatile? You know, the American audience knows you as a very fine actress, character actress who's done all kinds of roles. How can a girl who was the foreboding mother in Manchurian Candidate be such a campy delight in that?
Well, yeah, actually, you see, I was always what they call a character actress, and I enjoyed playing a lot of different kinds of characters, and I was, I suppose, versatile all the time. I just was never asked to put this side of my talent to work as I have in MAME. Dancing has been something I've just loved all my life. I was what you call a closet dancer, you know. They talk about closet singers. Judy Garland always said that Liza was a closet singer, so she didn't know she could sing until suddenly she had an act. Well, it's kind of the same with me in a sense. You know, I sang and danced, but nobody ever knew it. It was something I kind of kept to myself.
What's your answer going to be to people who say, gee whiz, I didn't know she could dance, I didn't know she could sing? I mean, this is the bane of so many actors and actresses, you know, who have to have that vehicle with which they can exhibit that talent. And they can go all their lives and it can never come along.
Well, that is true. But thank goodness MAME came along for me, because if it hadn't, maybe nobody would have ever known. Think of that?
How does this compare satisfaction-wise with movie things that you've done, with straight acting?
Oh, you can't compare it. There's something about the excitement of the musical theater that is totally unique. I feel sorry for anybody who hasn't tasted it. And I've known a lot of straight actors who have found their way into musicals, and they say, by golly, I agree with you, Angie. There's nothing like the musical theater. They'd rather do a musical than a straight play for the sheer enjoyment of it. However, there's some great roles in straight plays that one of these days I'll probably attempt. You know, I'd like to feel the sky's the limit. Try everything.
MAME, Angela, dear, what is your approach to this part? You know, it's so well established in the minds of the American audiences who saw Rosalind Russell on both stage and screen. There again, this is a challenge and a hurdle for yourself, you know, to overcome an image that's already done. How did you feel about it? How did you approach it, your interpretation and so forth?
Well, I'll tell you something. I read the book and I read the play. I had not seen either the play or the movie. I had no picture in my mind's eye as to how Roz Russell had played MAME, or how a number of other actresses had approached the part. Mine was purely an original approach, because as I say, I had no frame of reference. MAME to me is first and foremost a woman, a warm, wonderful kind of dame, with so many facets to her character, which make her fascinating. She is versatile in her thinking and the way she carries on and what she does. The great jewel of her life is the fact she inherits a nephew, a little boy. She's a woman who never had children of her own, and yet all the mother qualities, maternal instincts that she had, she pours into this child. Well, there you have a marvelous situation. It is a situation I understand. I have lovely children of my own, and I know what a woman goes through trying to rear a child, and I know it in every level. So consequently, to me, it was not an acting exercise so much as an extension, in many instances, of myself.
More than that, MAME is so important philosophically in today's world.
Yes,
it is such a cry for individualism,
indeed,
for freedom, you know.
Of course it is. It is, as you say. We must allow the individual to emerge, and I think MAME felt this, as far as she herself was concerned, unconsciously, and yet she perpetrated this creed to everybody she came in contact with. And this is what I feel comes across in her character, and this is what lifts the audience up, and what thrills me more than anything is the fact that young boys and girls who've seen the show, they dig her. My God, she's a standard carrier for them, and they understand and they sense that she represents another generation who understands them, because she is no age. She goes on forever.
She did what she wanted to do. She was ahead of the times.
Yes.
She believed in leading and not following.
That's right.
Not being back in the gray of life, you know.
Oh, she believed that militantly, and this was the reason she could not condone and would not condone injustice or bigotry, intolerance in any area of her life. very evident in the play, although it's touched on lightly and with care and with subtlety. Nevertheless, she stands for a lot of marvelous things.
But in these days when the young people try to be so individual and nonconformist and are criticized for it,
Yes.
MAME was the prototype of complete individuality.
Of her time.
Doing what you want to do.
That's right.
And loving it, you know. We were talking to Louis Nizer earlier this evening about what MAME represented, and the ability to be eccentric in the world, as long as there's charm and love with it, you know, is a
Right.
marvelous quality. And
Of course it is, because these kind of people can be so important in our lives, in our public life, in our school life. It's the teacher that stands out, that's just a little different from the other teachers because they're prepared to stand and talk and discuss with the kids on their level. These are the people that, the characters in the newspapers that keep coming up. They're the ones, they're the front runners. They're not afraid to stand up and be counted, to be heard, to talk, to discuss, and to lead. How many leaders are there? Too few, unfortunately. But the ones that are there, we idolize. We need them so badly.
Patrick Dennis put it so well in the key line in the play, of course. Life is a banquet and most poor suckers are starving to death.
That's right.
No.
That's right. That's it. That's it in a nutshell.
They're just
it's
afraid
right
to-
there for the tasting. Without
Just-
hurting anybody, without knocking anybody down, you know, without scrambling to get in front. It's not necessary. It's right there. Just have to recognize it. So you can see how important MAME is to me.
This is, of course, a whole new horizon in your life, Angela.
Yes, it
The
is.
sky's the limit now. I mean, after
Yes.
this, you know, movie roles and other stage roles, my goodness, what an exciting phase of your life,
Yes, isn't it?
you know.
To be 40 and have all that in front of me. Wow.
Because when you get to that point, you think, well, the best is perhaps behind, you know.
Not for me. Tonight,
beginning.
it's beginning. Isn't that wonderful?
We're going to have you as a resident here, aren't we,
Yes,
dear?
I'm going to be in New York for quite a while, I think.
Family and
I hope
everything,
so.
huh?
Oh, yes. Just wonderful. They're thrilled to death.
All the very best.
Thanks.
As we welcome a beautiful, new, talented, multifaceted star.
Oh, thanks.
Not a closet singer.
That's lovely words.
Angela Lansbury.
I finally
MAME.
came out of the closet.
MAME is back. You finally came out of the closet.
Yeah.
All the best.
Thanks so very, very much.